Hey everybody, Al Frangipane here. Thanks for checking out my video. Just want to start out by saying I hope everybody is safe and healthy from this coronavirus. It's a terrible mess, and I've been quarantined for almost a month and a half now. All the ranges are shut down in my area. We can't shoot, can't buy ammo. Luckily I have some, so I thought it was a good time to make another video. So what you've seen in my previous videos has all been rifle shooting. In my first talking video, I talked about my Steel Challenge rifles. I actually started out as a pistol shooter. So I'll give you a little bit of a background, and I think I'm a little bit qualified to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So a little bit of a background. I started shooting when I was 10 years old, got my first BB gun. It was 55 years ago. I got a 22 the next year, and I haven't looked back since. In about the 70s, I started shooting bullseye pistol because that's all there was. From there, I started shooting PPC, Practical Police Combat. I did that for several years. And IPSC came around, I shot IPSC. Then I took a few years off to have kids and get back into shooting, and I started shooting USPSA and IDPA, and recently got into Steel Challenge. But all that was with a pistol. So a little bit about my pistol background. I have a 1911 that I've had since the 80s, and I've gone up since then. If you remember the 80s, you only had two choices for guns. You had revolvers or pretty much 1911s before the plastic guns started coming out. But today's video, we're going to talk about the Ruger SR22 and the problems that I found with my gun, and what I did to correct those problems. And so here we go. So the gun came from my son. He was the first owner. I got it from him, and it's got less than 500 rounds through it. So what I did is I took up the ammo that I have. We went to the range with it, and he had cautioned me beforehand that you have to use high velocity ammo in it or it won't function, and you need a tight grip or it won't function either. So I have a variety of ammo here, and I thought it was all high velocity, and so we'll go through it one at a time. So my first box of Federal here is Federal Auto Match. It's 1,200 feet per second. I have a Gila Super Extra 40 grain bullet at 1255. And I have the 36 grain Federal at 1260, 38 grain Federal at 1260. I have Remington Golden Bullet at 1280 and Velocitor at 1435. So I started out with the Federal, and it's a 40 grain bullet, and the first shot fired, second shot went click. I checked the action, and the shell did not eject. I ejected it by hand, fired the second one, it fired. Next time I pulled the trigger, it went click. Shell did not eject. So what was happening is the gun was firing, and the slide was coming back far enough to recock the gun, but not far enough to pull the shell completely out of the chamber. So it was recocking, the spent shell stayed in the chamber. Of course, it's dead, so you pull the trigger, you get a click. So this ammo would not function at all in that gun, no matter what we tried. So we'll just push that one aside. The Gila Super Extra at 1255 worked flawlessly. No feeding or ejecting problems because of the ammo. We'll get to that later. The two Federals at 1260 worked fine. Again, no failures because of the ammo. And the Remington at 1280 and the Velocitor at 1435. Now the Remington and the Velocitor were a noticeable difference in the report and the recoil. Much, much louder and much, much more recoil. Far above these others. And these two cycled the gun flawlessly. So I started thinking, well, my wife shot it, and my wife's not getting these same problems. Everything's working for her. The other thing I noticed too was on the Ruger SR22, the slide was not staying back after the last round with a magazine in it, and it was for her. So let's find out why. Here's my 1911, empty chamber, no magazine. As I grip the gun, I use a high grip, classic combat grip, you want to call it, competition grip. And I noticed with this gun, in some matches, the slide was not locking back. I figured that out because my thumb here was resting on the slide stop, keeping it down. So even with a magazine in it, it would not stay back. I had one match where the gun was just not cycling at all. It was terrible. And this gun has been flawless. It was custom built, handmade gun. It was just been flawless. So I had somebody watch me and they said, well, you're squeezing the slide. And that's what I was doing. Just for that one match, my thumbs were rubbing against the slide and it was slowing down the action of the slide and not letting it come back far enough. I got away with it, I think, most of the time because of the heavy springs in a 45 as compared to a 22. So I found out how to fix this one. It was me. Come on. Okay. My IDPA and USPSA gun is a Smith & Wesson 5-inch Performance Center slide, but the gun started out as a normal frame. Again, empty, nothing in the mag well. Same thing here. High grip, thumbs here. I was having problems with the slide sometimes not locking back in the last round. Same thing, thumbing the slide stop. Okay. With this gun, because I shoot it more than the 1911, I learned to keep my thumbs away from the slide. They're out to the side a little bit. If you can see it like this, okay, and this gun runs fine. This has a reduced spring. It has very light loads, just enough to make power factor. I shoot 147 grain plated bullets, and this gun has been great. And again, it's my technique. It was killing me. Now, I have huge hands. In this gun, again, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag well. And this gun, I just overpower this thing with my hands. It's just huge. So in my shooting position here, you can see that my thumb, my forward thumb is right on the slide, and the same with my rear thumb, it's right on the slide. So what's happening is it's slowing down the action of the slide and not allowing it to function properly. And I can illustrate that just by working the slide release. If I hold this in a shooting position and I release that slide, I'm going to try to do it slowly here. Come on. You'll see that it just barely goes forward and then slams near the end. And that's me. That's because I'm gripping it up here. So what I noticed is when my wife was shooting it, and she's left-handed with smaller hands and doesn't use a high grip, she's gripping down here. So she's nowhere near the slide stop, and her fingers and thumbs are nowhere near the slide. So she was getting full action of the gun. So I took it back from her, and I used a similar grip, which was lower here, and thumbs down low, thumb off the slide stop, and the gun worked flawlessly. Would stay back in the last shot, and it just cycled everything. Still didn't cycle this stuff, but cycled everything else. And that's what the problem was for me. Now, a lot of people out there are probably faulting the gun, and it could be, but for me, it was nothing but my grip. And once I fixed my grip, I could shoot strong hand, weak hand, two hands, didn't matter, rapid fire, slow fire, and it worked every single time with a couple of 100 rounds. We really put it through the paces. So for me anyways, that was my problem. Other than the one batch of ammo or one brand of ammo, I had no problems with the gun after I got my grip straightened out with this gun. So that's it for now. Again, you know, stay safe out there, be healthy. When the weather gets better, the ammo comes around, get out to the range and get your skills back up to speed. If you like this video, click like. You can always subscribe if you want to see my other videos coming out. My next one will be on the Ruger PC carbine that I shoot in competition, and I think you'll find that interesting as well. Everybody, again, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.